Hello and welcome to this week's edition of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update. I'm your host, Chris Greene, Director of Network Expansion for Avoya Travel, and I appreciate your time for tuning in to today's program. A very exciting program today as we fast approach the end of quarter number 3 of 2021, and it sure seemed to have went fast. No doubt, lots of turmoil, lots of uncertainty remain for everyone in the travel industry, but positive signs and exciting signs continue to pop up, giving many the feeling that our best days are fast approaching. And I personally prefer to be optimistic about everything while still trying to live in reality of the moment that we're living through. A couple of positive pieces of cruise news today, one from Virgin Voyages as the Scarlet Lady makes her New York debut, and one from Royal Caribbean International as they announce new home ports for the Wonder of the Seas. ASTA continues to push for a safe reopening of the American travel market and bands together with other leading organizations to spread the word to the world. We'll also have some closer to home travel news that is certainly positive as Broadway begins its partial reopening. All these stories coming up on this week's Eye on the Industry feature. And we have a great guest joining us today for our Meet the Team feature, Laura Burk, my personal Avoya Travel Agent Power Technology guru. She knows everything. And the new Senior Director of Avoya Mastermind will be joining us for a great discussion on the power of ongoing professional development, the concept of getting out of it what you put into it, and Laura's advice on important things to consider when starting a travel business. I look forward to our upcoming discussion here in just a few moments. Speaking of starting a new travel business, we'll go over some details on our new to travel program here at Avoya Travel and highlight our ongoing promotions for our experienced travel agent friends that might be looking for a new and better network. We are always here for you, and we hope you reach out. We're happy to answer your questions, enlighten you on our best-in-class resources like technology, support, ongoing professional development, marketing, exclusive sales, and the benefits for your agency of Avoya Travel's 30-plus year relationship with American Express Travel. So make sure you put in that request and start the conversation because you and your business will be glad you did. So let's kick it off. This week's edition of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update. And we start, as we always do, with a few industry insights and our Eye on the Industry feature. Virgin Voyages finally was able to steer the Scarlet Lady past the Statue of Liberty into port in New York City, albeit 18 months late. Originally scheduled for its American debut in March of 2020, and well, we all know how untimely that turned out to be. Virgin Voyage's first vessel sat unused for 15 months before finally debuting in the United Kingdom this past summer for voyages to nowhere and only for UK residents. Well, this week, docked in New York City, the ship is playing host to the media, travel industry, and get this, even holding a music festival on board this weekend. Yeah, the Scarlet Lady is no ordinary cruise ship, which really shouldn't surprise anyone that's followed the evolution of the Virgin brand under Richard Branson. No buffet, no cruise director, no art auctions, but some very unique spaces, including a tattoo parlor and record shop, as well as some really innovative food offerings. Now, the highlights of the included restaurants are the Loose Cannon Social Club, inspired by seaside bars in England, the test kitchen that only tells you the ingredients but not how it's prepared ahead of time, and Gumbay, what Virgin Voyages is calling the only Korean barbecue restaurant at sea where the passengers cook at their own table. Now, I've been following on Charles Sylvia. We had Charles as a guest a few weeks ago on Deck with Avoya. He's an elite cruise counselor, a vice president, our good friend from CLIA. He has a Facebook blog, and it really looks like an interesting ship to sail on. The Scarlet Lady will be making her way down the U.S. East Coast for her first sailing out of Miami, which is scheduled for October 6th. And I really think this mid-sized ship is going to surprise a lot of people. It's probably a better fit for a wider spectrum of client base than some agents may think. Remember, you don't buy or sell from your own pocket, right? Royal Caribbean International is switching up the home ports for the debut of its newest Oasis-class ship, the Wonder of the Seas. Originally scheduled to sail from the China market, Royal Caribbean International will now base the Wonder of the Seas out of Fort Lauderdale, and her inaugural sailing is scheduled for March of 22 before sailing out of Barcelona and Rome for the summer starting in May of 22. Now, out of Fort Lauderdale, the ship will embark on a series of 7-day Western and Eastern Caribbean itineraries, and it's great news for agents in the North American travel market. Now, this is the 5th Oasis class ship from Royal Caribbean International, and it will offer several unique features, and for the first time ever, an 8th neighborhood. They're calling it the Suite Neighborhood, and it does indeed sound pretty sweet. With included features such as an elevated suite, sun deck, a plunge pool, bar, loungers, and nooks. Also includes the 1,350 square foot ultimate family suites that was first introduced on the Symphony of the Seas. Other unique spots on the Wonder include the Wonder Playscape, a top deck underwater themed adventure play area with slides, climbing walls, and an interactive mural, and introducing the View, a cantilevered bar high above the pool deck. I'm just trying to imagine it. Now, bookings opened for the Fort Lauderdale sailings yesterday, September 15th, and they opened for the European season on the 22nd of this month next week. Relationships matter. And if your host or partner doesn't have top-notch relationships with Royal Caribbean International, then you should reach out to Avoya Travel, because we do, and it makes a huge difference for the Avoya Travel Network. ASTA, the American Society of Travel Advisors, continues to apply the pressures to the powers that be for a safe reopening of the American travel market to international travelers, as well as banding together with other leading travel organizations worldwide to get that message to world leaders as well. Rumors are circulating in Washington, D.C. that a loosening of some travel restrictions for international travelers is about to happen, and ASTA says that is long overdue and would follow the science. From a statement released by ASTA, we urge the Biden administration to finalize this plan as quickly as possible and to otherwise make safely restarting international travel occur by opening borders an immediate priority. The travel industry as a whole will not recover from COVID until international travel restarts in earnest. Now, one of the goals of the measures is loosening entry restrictions for fully vaccinated travelers and travel standards that align with the policies of major outbound markets like Canada, the EU, and the UK. Now, this week also saw ASTA work with organizations like the Association of British Travel Agents, the Association of Canadian Travel Agencies, Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, and the European Travel Agents and Tour Operators Association to spread that safe reopening message to leaders worldwide. And finally, a piece of good news from the Big Apple and great news for agents with a client base more comfortable with traveling closer to home. Broadway has reopened, at least some of the biggest shows have. As the marquee in Times Square said, the wait is over. Hamilton, Wicked, The Lion King, all some of the biggest shows all reopened on Tuesday to full capacity crowds. They were shuttered just like everything else back in March of 2020. And the 3 shows decided back in May of this year to reopen on the same night in a show of industry unity. Now, ticket holders to all 3 mega hits must prove they're fully vaccinated and wear a mask at all times except when eating or drinking. Now, those in the Avoya Travel Network benefit by having amazing resources available via the Avoya Marketing Resource Center to connect with their client base with best-in-class deployable assets that keep them top of mind with clients looking to stay closer to home, but still enjoy the benefits and joy of traveling to popular destinations like New York City. Reach out and start your request today at our website, avoyanetwork.com, and we'll have the rest of our contact information at the end of today's program. Time to move forward with this week's On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update, where each week, as our loyal viewers know, we get to introduce you to a member of either the Avoya Network or, like next week, a member of the travel industry in general, and we're going to have that special announcement in just a few minutes, or as in the case of today, an amazingly talented member of the Avoya team. Today, our featured Meet the Team guest will be Laura Burk, Senior Manager of Avoya Mastermind, and one of the smartest people you will meet from the Avoya family. Laura has worked as both a travel advisor and owner of her own agency, and at one time was part of the Avoya University team, which is vital and an exciting resource in and of itself, exclusive to Avoya Travel. And Laura is now the new Senior Director of Avoya Mastermind. It's talented people like Laura Burk that make up the backbone of Avoya Travel. They bring to life the amazing resources we offer. Ongoing professional development is important in any industry. And in an industry like travel, where things just move and change at the speed of light sometimes, it's beyond vital. Having someone like Laura help lead the charge with a cornerstone resource like the Avoya Mastermind program is a huge win for both Avoya Travel and the members of the Avoya Travel Network. So let's welcome in our special guest this week, Laura Burk, Senior Manager of Avoya Mastermind, to this week's On Deck with Avoya. And Laura, we appreciate your time for being here today.
Thank you, Chris. I'm excited to be here too.
Laura, before we jump into the amazing Mastermind program and your new role in that department, let's start at the beginning of your journey and how you became a travel professional to start with and ultimately came to work for Avoya Travel.
Well, that actually starts with my previous career, and that was in aquatics. I spent many, many years as an aquatics director, a swim coach, faculty trainer for the YMCA, swim instructor, trainer, lifeguard trainer, you name it. I've been a trainer and transitioned into travel about 10 years ago. Sorry, guys, the dog decided to wake up.
We'll take an extra guest.
Yeah, hazards of working from home. But at first, I was I affiliated with Avoya just to kind of get my retirement plan set up. And so it was more of a hobby than it was a full-time business venture. And then I started having some breathing and lung issues, and I couldn't be around pools anymore, which my love of my life. And my travel agency actually went from being a hobby to actually having to make it work to pay the bills. And that was a really important life event that changed my mindset towards my business and ultimately the success of my independent agency. I really did quit going through the motions and started to jump into things like the Mastermind program and put into practice all of the suggested best practices that Tammy Ritchie had to offer. And she kept me accountable. That's one of the things about the Mastermind program is it helps keep you accountable. And that's where my agency soared. And then the next thing I know, Tammy was offering me a position with the Mastermind program, and the rest is history.
To our benefit, I might add.
Thank you.
How important was travel to you and your family, Laura, when you grew up? Did you get a chance to take any life-changing trips in your younger days?
I did. I really had the opportunity to travel a lot as a young person. I was a national level swimmer growing up. I set my first state record at age 8, my first national record at age 10.
Wow.
So I got to travel all over the US and the world, both swimming and coaching. I became a coach after my swimming career ended. And I really can tell you more about the aquatic facilities around this world than probably some of the history or sites. So as a swimmer, Olympic trials took me to Austin, Texas, and Omaha, Nebraska. They don't sound like great destinations, but they have such great memories for me. National training took me to places like England, Hawaii, Canada. And then as a coach, I really got to go to some really interesting places, Costa Rica, Poland, and multiple Caribbean islands. So great experiences, always kept me on the road. So travel has been a very big part of my life.
I'm sure it shaped your worldview too, right? I mean, you can't help but travel that much and then just have a broader perspective of things that go around, around the world.
No, I to this day, I just have the itch to get out and get moving because when you swim and you go to multiple competitions and training camps and stuff, you're constantly moving, you're constantly going to a new place. So that transition to something I did later in life, we'll talk about it, I'm sure, in just a little bit, but I like to travel. I like to get, see new places.
Who
right
does
away. Well, just right away. I like next, where are we going next?
You have the same patience level that I do, apparently. Now, here on Deck with Avoya, we love the Mastermind program. We've had the pleasure of featuring several of your teammates in the past as past guests. Laura, tell me a little bit about your role, though, as the Senior Manager of Avoya's Mastermind program.
So as Tammy Ritchie keeps saying to me, she is the VP of Network Engagement, so she's my boss. I'm back where I belong, and I'm very excited about this opportunity. I really have a passion for professional development, and at this point, my role is we're going through a bit of a rebuilding phase. So right now we have the Leading to Sales, or the L2S program, and those are really for our new independent agencies and their ILAs, licensed agents, where we focus in the first 90 days of them being able to claim Avoya Live leads, setting them up with, suggested best practices of systems and scripting and your agency metrics, just things to be aware of as a new business owner. We also have our popular Mastermind Academies, which of course the pandemic put a bit of a stop to, but we hope to get going with those again here soon. some continuing professional development through the rest of this year. And then we're going to be launching new offerings in 2022 for our network for after the 90-day period, plus some offerings for our mastermind alumni. So stay tuned for some great opportunities there.
That's a great tease. Now we have lots of reasons and hopefully lots of content for future episodes of On Deck with Avoya. Laura, what would you say is the main purpose and the goal of the Mastermind program? Looking at it from two different angles, both from Avoya's perspective and then those from the perspective of a member and affiliate in the Avoya Travel network.
Okay, so I know for me personally, the Mastermind program offers sales resources, professional development, and suggested best practices for running your business. And I experienced this firsthand as a former IA. I'm very passionate about affording that opportunity to our network, especially the newbies coming in. I really have a passion for the new agencies and seeing them succeed. And the best part is it's free, it's optional, and it works.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat the success ratio that the Mastermind program has had over the years. I mean, there's just no doubt that the agencies in our network that participate in that optional program on average see better results. And once they're in that program, their sales go up, their commissions generated go up. I mean, what else can you ask for, right?
Right.
Now, Laura Burk, Senior Manager of Avoya Mastermind, is our featured Meet the Team guest today. Laura, I know that in the past, you also worked with our awesome Avoya University team. So in your opinion, how important is ongoing professional development as it equates to success as a professional travel agent?
Well, I've only been with the Avoya Mastermind team again now for a week. So I spent a good 5, almost 6 years with the Avoya University team. And I can't tell you enough about the importance of Avoya University, not only to get you started. Okay, so it's not something you just do when you affiliate with Avoya. It's part of network enrichment. And it's where our IAs have resources available to them 24/7, 365. And there's always something to learn, always something to review, always something to refresh. And so I really do encourage, whether you're thinking about joining Avoya, come in. We have resources like you would not believe. They are endless, and they're for all phases of running your independent agency. So knowledge really is power, and how you use it really is up to you. But you have the resources, and it starts with Avoya University.
Because the fact is, right, when you run your own business and when you're your own boss, it's a really exciting opportunity, but in some ways it's like a double-edged sword, because now as the boss and the owner of your agency, you have to hold yourself, which is normally your most important, and in some cases only employee, to a very high standard. And then you have to, as the employee, excel and exceed that expectation. And it's sometimes really hard to do. So having that extra set of eyes and ears and to balance and just to say, okay, I'm not in this alone, is just really vital, right?
It is. It's great to have that support around you. Avoya has so much in support between all the different departments, but we really do have the support to set our new independent agencies up to succeed.
Now, Laura, one last question about your work role with Avoya Travel before we sneak in some fun stuff about you personally. But as someone that sold travel successfully in the past, and much like myself was a former member and affiliate in the Avoya Travel network, what kind of research did you do personally before you made your choice in host agencies? And as a follow-up, once you became an affiliate, what resources did you really find most beneficial as an affiliate to help you propel into future success?
Okay, so this is really important. You really should do your research, do your due diligence, and make decisions that are best for your business. I was lucky enough to have my in-laws to guide me. They were affiliated with Avoya and doing very well. I was with another host agency before joining Avoya, and I had to, because back at that time, Avoya had kind of a minimum sales requirement to affiliate. And then in that entire year with the previous host, I only did $125,000 in sales. And to some, that still might sound like a lot, but what happened when I joined Avoya and I went through the AU education and joined the Mastermind program, I had more sales in my first month at Avoya than my entire year with my previous host agency. And it really was the resources that boosted me to the next level. And by the way, I did have to work for it. It just didn't happen because I looked at the resources. I really had to put those into action. So very important to do that, but I can attest from a personal experience that it works if you'll just give it a try.
And sometimes the benefit too, right, Laura, is that, like, for me, I remember in the beginning, one of the great benefits of the live lead program was that it just gave me more bites of the apple. And like anything that you do of a repetitive nature, the more I did it, the better I got. I was able to kind of look back at the conversations that I had that maybe ended up in a no and say, hey, was that me, or was that them, or was that the moment? And if it was me, I could learn from it so that the next time it wasn't me.
Yeah, I always tell independent agency owners when I'm meeting with them and we're talking about things, the questions are kind of all over the place, but really for me, my best advice when you come in is the fact that every single lead that you're going to take is going to be a learning experience, whether you get your no verbally, whether you earn your no through the work that you do through the quoting process, whether you get, ghosted and have that Avoya Witness Protection Program come out, that if you really take a look at every single lead that you claim in the beginning, you can learn from the experiences of going through the process of what you do with each and every one of those leads. So it's very, very important to learn from that process.
And then it makes you more effective when you do find clients of your own through your own sphere of influence to have a better chance to close them. So again, we're talking about one resource building on another to create more win-wins.
For me, it was agent power. I have a huge passion for agent power. That technology is amazing. And it was awesome to figure out how to use AP as my own personal assistant. And so I have a lot of, like you said, a lot of little tips and tricks with agent power that really just helped me work smarter and not harder. And I could focus on the more important aspects of the sales from there.
Yeah, you really are a guru with that agent power. And I know personally, having relied on that resource a few times personally, what you know is very valuable. And so that you share that with the network is pretty amazing. Let's talk about some fun stuff that Laura likes to do outside of work when you get some downtime. Any fun hobbies that take up your time?
Well, I think that travel is pretty obvious. I grew up in Florida and Disney was in my backyard. So I'm a huge Disney fanatic. I would go to Disney a lot. I'm currently in Erie, Pennsylvania. So my Disney days have been cut short, but give me any opportunity and I'll go. I also love cruising. I've been on about 30 cruises. Living in Merritt Island, it made it really easy to go on those long weekend getaways out of Port Canaveral. So I like to fish and I like to coach. I know it's something that I do as part of my work environment, but I really love coaching in general. So, coaching swimming is something that I've done for a very long time as well, still to this day.
Now, I know that prior to COVID that you and your husband had hit the road as full-time RVers. What a great benefit of working from home, and that the fact that you can take your home wherever you choose to be. Tell me a little bit about that experience. And is that something that you hope to do again as we come out of COVID?
So yes, about 6 years ago, I went to my husband and I told him I wanted to sell the house and have an estate sale. And he looked at me like I had 5 heads. And what else could he say but, okay, honey. So we had that estate sale, we bought an RV and we hit the road, and I've seen some amazing places. Absolutely going to get back to those days. COVID made us pivot a little bit, but there's so much to see in this great nation, as well as Canada. You can drive your RV in Canada pre-COVID, and it really is a good fit working as a remote employee, even as an IA. My office can be anywhere as long as I have internet. We're good to go. So love it.
What about future bucket list trips other than the RVing? Anything on the horizon that you're really excited about?
Well, when you posed this question to me, I hadn't really thought about the bucket list in a while, but one of my bucket list items always has been to go to the Olympics. And that was a goal of mine as a swimmer. Fell short of that just a little bit due to a car accident, but I really would like to attend the 2024 Olympics. As a Disney fanatic, I really want to visit all the parks around the world. Alaska is still a bucket list item, and a vow renewal in Hawaii for my 25th anniversary, and that's just a few years away.
Oh, that would be fantastic. And congratulations, even a few years out. So that would be a great trip. Where is the 2024 Olympics? I admit I don't even know.
It's in Paris, France.
Oh, so you could also like knock off too, right? You get to go to the Olympics and then maybe
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
And some of the boating stuff is taking place in French Polynesia. So that's which way do I want to go? We could knock off 3 maybe.
There you go. Laura, one last question before we let you go. Given all of your experience, both as a travel advisor, member of the Avoya University team, now the senior manager of Avoya's Mastermind, what advice would you offer to either a new or maybe a struggling agent just trying to find out what works for them?
I would say just keep trying. Keep reaching out and use the resources that are available to you. For example, when I started my agency, I was really trying to work those banker's hours. And I was a limited specialty independent agency. So I wasn't connecting to the leads and I had to make a shift. It wasn't working. You know, definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. Well, I realized that I had hit that brick wall enough. It wasn't working. And it wasn't that the leads were bad. They just weren't home. So I started working 11 to 7 throughout the week. I worked Saturdays and Sundays, and then I managed to be able to take off Wednesdays and Fridays. So I wasn't working 7 days a week around the clock, but I found the days that were lighter, days that I wasn't, just testing the systems, figuring out what works. And I found my success with that. So just keep trying and figure out what works for you.
What wonderful advice. Laura Burk, everyone, Senior Manager of Avoya Mastermind. Laura, thank you for that great insight, for your time today, that wonderful conversation. We really appreciate the chance to have you as our featured Meet the Team guest.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, I promised an exciting guest for next week. And how do you get much more exciting than that conversation I had with Laura? But guess what? I think we're going to deliver in spades, because next week, Justin Heckman, Club Med's National Director of Sales Strategy, will be our very special Meet the Industry guest. Justin is being very kind and making himself available. He's got a very busy schedule, as you might imagine, with everything going on. And we look forward to hearing Justin's story, as well as exciting updates on the Club Med brand. And they're a premier partner with Avoya Travel. So partnerships, again, matter at the highest levels. They directly lead to more sales and more commissions generated. And I can't wait for my Q&A with Justin Heckman next week during our weekly On Deck with Avoya. Okay, are you new to the industry? Are you thinking about getting into this crazy business we call the travel industry? Well, Avoya Travel, again, has the best-in-class resources, an amazing track record with those new to the travel industry, a great initial relationship with the folks at CLIA to help get you from the ground floor to that first rung on the ladder. And then, as Laura was talking about, some of the resources that you can participate in that would help you advance to the upper echelons of this industry. You can be your own boss, set your own hours, and we would love to have that conversation. So if you're thinking of getting in the travel industry, please reach out and start that conversation with us today. And if you're an experienced travel agent, we still have 2 ongoing promotions for you. For, again, a high-end travel advisor. What are we talking about as a high-end travel advisor? Probably someone that's been in the business for several years. More than likely in 2019, you would have had a volume of over $500,000 or more. Maybe you just rocking and rolling this year, but you just feel like you don't have the right home to take your business to the level that you want it to be at. We can try to get you qualified. And if you do qualify, we're going to waive that initial Avoya affiliation fee. And you'll be able to affiliate with Avoya at no cost out of your pocket from an Avoya standpoint for the Avoya affiliation fee. Maybe you're trying to get to that level. And as, again, you heard our guest today talk about, we have the resources that you can use as incremental building blocks to get to that level of success. Well, if you're experienced, but still trying to get to that high-end level, we have a promotion for you as well, where we'll waive your first renewal fee. Again, you can explore with complete flexibility, no long-term contract or exclusive agreement. And again, contact us, get in touch with a specialist, and they'll get you qualified for either one of those 2 promotions if you're an experienced travel professional. And how do you contact us? There's so many ways. It's pretty simple. Always at avoyanetwork.com. That is the easiest and probably the most comprehensive way to get initial information. And then we're going to get you in touch with a specialist for all of the finite details. You can email me. I'm happy to start the conversation with you at chris.greene@avoyatravel.com. There's our phone number. on the screen. Again, we'd love to hear from you. You can leave a message here on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, you can leave us a message there. Just reach out, start the conversation. We'll have that discussion. If it's a good fit, let's put it together. If it's not a good fit, we wish each other a great day and we go from there. I want to again thank Laura Burk, my special Meet the Team guest today. A big thank you to Marissa Smith for producing our segment and doing a wonderful job as always. I appreciate your time. I hope you make time to join us next Thursday for our special edition when Justin from Club Med will be our special Meet the Industry guest. And until then, take care, everyone.